Right, cool. So if you just wait until it goes online, then yeah.
Brilliant. Hello everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Show. On the bench with me, James Hutchinson, Lee Bailey and Tony Guest with us this week as well. Welcome to the show, lads.
Evening, James. You alright, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to have you all on again, lads. I'm certain it's going to be a really busy show this week, following a disappointing week which ended with Jonathan Woodgate and the Borough still searching for their first win of the season. Apology for all the technical issues we had last week. We had a few gremlins in the system. So hopefully this week we'll get your views and opinions. Obviously, it's not been the start of the season that we've all hoped for. Why is that? Let us know, Borough fans. Do you think we've been unlucky, or do you think there's other factors behind our winless start? I know there's Leeds fans watching here, so they're probably taking great pleasure. But obviously, you don't get the championship this early in the season, lads. You should know that after last year. Oh well, yeah, they might do. Yeah. So, Borough fans, are you revising your expectations for this season? Do you think it's too early to dismiss hopes for promotion? Or do you think, Borough fans, it's maybe going to be a really difficult season for us? We may struggle to stay up mid-table. You let us know. What do the Borough have to do? What do the club have to do? Get involved with myself, Guesty and Lee tonight on the show. It's your debate, your club. Let's get on with it. So, lads, one thing we do know is we're not going to be in the League Cup anymore this season after defeat on penalties to League Two Crewe Alexandra last week. After the game, there was some criticism of Jonathan Woodgate, Guesty, about the number of changes he made at the starting 11. Do you think that was justified?
Yeah, just like you said, I didn't go to that game. Mm-hmm. But what manager in the top divisions doesn't make that amount of changes? You know what I mean? Obviously, we've spoke the priority about that cup.
Yeah.
It's a cup, and sometimes I feel, yeah, let's go for it. Let's put our strongest team out. But Woodgate's only been in the game, since July, June, July.
That was his third match, yeah.
He's brought 3 new signings in.
Yeah.
He's been with the rest of the squad for a long time, but not as a manager, as a mate.
Yeah.
And he's just getting to know them, how to handle them as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to have a good look at what we had in the squad.
That's a good point.
And it's all right saying he knows who they are, he knows these youth players, he's been away with them. He won't, he's getting the grips with the job, and he won't know what them players are going to give him yet. You know what I mean? So, for his own peace of mind, I totally agree with it.
I think that's a good point, yeah. How about you, Lee?
If we'd have got someone against Blackburn, people wouldn't have been moaning about them changing.
Yeah.
But, if anything, I think it's highlighted how much we are lacking in squad depth.
Yeah, it is a thin squad, isn't it, we've got?
It's highlighted that you cannot rely on Gusted if we need to. If Britt and Fletcher are out injured, what's Gusted offering you?
Yeah.
It doesn't want to be here for me.
No.
Can't rely on him.
Can I just say, as us as fans who were criticising Woodgate's selection for that game, Middlesbrough Football Club shut 3 stands down for that game.
Yeah.
So how can us as fans moan when no one's making the effort to go shout 10 red shirts on?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Like I said,
we didn't show the commitment for that game. You know what I mean?
As fans, Blackburn, everyone had been saying, "Oh, brilliant! That he rested all the key players," and then we beat Blackburn.
Yeah.
So
and I think, like you said, I think the other thing is, and you touched on it a little bit there, Tony, was the fact is it's a squad, and you want to be able to see what these lads can do. Can they offer anything any different to what we've already got in the team? And they should have used that opportunity to put forward their case for a place in the starting 11 at Blackburn. The thing was, very few of them did they?
No, well, he had a look at Fowler, didn't he? And he still started with Friend at left back, which was quite disappointing. Yeah.
Thanks for all of you who's getting in touch. There's loads of love here for Guesty being back on the show. Glad to see you back on, mate. Neil Metcalf. Matthew Groves, great point, Matthew. Hate that there's a divide in the fans at the moment. 3 games have to give Woodgate a chance. Don't agree with Woodgate out at this stage of the season. I mean, we'll talk about that further on, but there does seem already as though people are getting on the manager's case, which after 3 or 4 games seems like bizarre to me that you're doing that after you've brought a new manager in to get on his case before August's out. I know we mentioned last week about the league being the priority, and probably even more so, bear in mind we do have a small squad, but it's never good to go out to a lower league team. We had it twice last year with Burton and Newport, and the same again last week. It's disappointing still, isn't it, Tony?
It's disappointing. It's disappointing for the fans. I totally understand where the fans are coming from. It's disappointing for the fans, but what does it do for morale inside the dressing room? As the, it is a squad game, so
It's disappointing given that we got it back to 2 each. From there, you're thinking, and again, Britt with his penalty.
Yeah.
Something, come on.
Well, that's it. I mean,
He said he's my number 9. He's taking the next penalty and he'll score it.
So
what do you do? Do you give him a third chance?
Well, I think he came out after the game, Woodgate, and said he will take the next penalty if we get another penalty. So
He's fair play to him for giving him the chance.
He's giving him the chance, but I mean, what if he misses the next one? You're like, well, how long do you wait for? It's a lot to ask the lad.
Aguero missed 4 in a row till he got a second chance. You know what I mean?
The thing is, you know how many chances you're going to get at Man City. You'll get loads of chances, won't you? But I mean, positives from the night. Were there any positives from the night for you, lads?
The positives were, like you say, we managed to get back to 2-2.
Yeah. Actually,
not being at the game. You know, I can't say how the lads performed or how bad it was or how good the comeback was. So, but as a positive for someone who sat and listened, it was all. That's a positive. We showed a bit of fight and we got back into it, whether it was Crew or whether it was someone in the Championship.
I think there was a lot of people saying that the improvement in the last 20 minutes or so coincided with Paddy McNair and Ashley Fletcher. They changed the game because it seemed as though for 70 minutes the game was going absolutely nowhere apart from Crew strolling to a victory.
That's a negative though, because you're relying on them. Where's the squad? The squad should. That shows how poor our squad is at the minute, like size wise.
Yeah.
But last season, the players that we were screaming to be in the first team, you're seeing the size of our squad. They've been pushed forward for the first team, and was Pulis right? These players aren't ready. These players aren't good enough for the first team.
Well, I'll just throw this one out there. Tony Pulis, yes, he got all the criticism that he did, but do you think he actually did an unbelievable job getting what he did out of the players that we have in our squad to get 5th or 7th, or do you still think he held us back? And
I think he held us back. I've just been listening to Paddy McNair there on the radio, and the guy asked him, what's the difference between this season and last season, between the managers? And he said, the lads are enjoying the football now, we're actually getting the ball down and trying to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it, like you say, I think it was a bit of a personal dig at Pulis for how he was trapped last season.
Yeah. Davey Richardson, thanks for watching. Davey said Lewis Wing on penalties all day long for me. He'll break the net. He may well do if it was from 30 yards out, I think. But I mean, I'll have a chat about Lewis Wing in a moment because there was one or two things I picked up on at the Blackburn game, but we'll talk about that. Phil Conway, thanks for watching. Phil, squad's too thin. Like you've said, if the strikers aren't firing, we've got no backup. We should have sold Gusted 2 seasons ago. I think Gusted is getting a lot of flack. The issue with Gusted, I think, is in terms of the money he's on, and will anybody else take him on? Because, I mean, we paid good money, man. We paid £6 million for him.
We're stuck with him now till his contract.
And his contract's on up the end of the season.
And I don't
think
for me, James. He's a hold-up player. Why can't he hold the ball up? Like he's massive. That is his game.
He doesn't seem the player he was at Blackburn.
For me, he doesn't want to be here for me.
No. For a big guy, you can't jump.
He can't win the
ball. The ball bounces off him.
Exactly.
You know
he just gets out muscled every time.
Yeah.
Just disappointing, really.
Yeah. So that's the League Cup done with that quickly. That's it, in and out straight away. We went on Saturday to Blackburn. There was 2,500 Borough fans went there. Now, not too long ago, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, there was 7,000 Borough fans went to Blackburn. I know it was a game over the Christmas period, but still, 7,000 went there. 2,500 on Saturday. Do you think that's a sign maybe that some Borough fans are thinking, do you know what, I'm a little bit sceptical about how this team's going to do this year and they're not going to the away games in the numbers they have in the past? Or do you still think that's a cracking following?
I think it's I think it's a great following still.
Yeah.
Blackburn don't bring that up here.
Oh no, well, very few teams bring that. Yeah.
It was over Christmas when we took 7,000. We were riding like a good wave of momentum.
Yeah.
It was cheaper.
Yeah.
So for me, whenever you're winning well and you get a big away game, it's like 3,000 have sold. We've got more tickets, and everyone just seems to jump on it no matter where it is.
Yeah.
So for me, 2,500 is still a good turnout.
Yeah.
I think it's the home game against Brentford, first game of the season. I thought the crowd was very disappointing. 21,000.
Right.
I know Brentford only brought a handful, but I thought I was expecting at least 24, 25.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe it's the hangover from when Woodgate was getting appointed as manager, or when he was the favourite in the betting, and the amount of people who were saying I'll never put foot on the Riverside again.
Do you think it's the prices as well? Because we've spoken about prices before in terms of walk-ups, because I think we've sold around about 18,000 season tickets.
Right. So
I think the cheapest adult ticket on a match day is £30. Do you think that's too much to pay for a championship game, Tony?
I think £20 too much to pay for a championship game. But that's what it is, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of money out of people's budgets, but it's how much you want to go watch your football club, and how much you want to prioritise your own business at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot stayed away with the appointment.
Do you really? Do you
yeah,
think
yeah,
people are not going because of who the manager is?
Yeah. There was, like you say, people are, I'm not stepping foot in that stadium again if he gets the manager's job.
Right.
But there was a lot of people swayed back when Woodgate's first press conference.
Yeah.
And, you know, but now people are starting to doubt that. You've got to, like you say, it's pointless doubting the lad. He's had three league games.
Yeah.
We've one and a half of them, we've been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
Luton, first game of the season, their first game back in the Championship, that was always going to be difficult. But we went away, scored 3 goals, and that's our problem up and now. We can't defend at the moment, you know what I mean? But let's see how it goes.
Yeah,
and
still a
it's
awful long way to go.
I just keep looking how Norwich were last year.
Yeah.
Fulham the year before that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, Beadlex, thanks for getting in touch, mate. You've said £30 is insane for Championship. I agree with that. I mean, like you said there about price on site, it was £28 to go to Blackburn.
I think 20 is fair for Championship. 20 and 10 half.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think crowds would be, you'd go to more grounds that are full if it was like that. And I think it'd look a lot better on the television. There's not many games you see in the Championship now, aside from Leeds, which is crazy when you think of the prices they charge. But very few grounds in the Championship are full. You see swathes of empty seats.
That was disappointing Saturday Blackburn when you see a stadium like that. And it was, the home support was poor. It was dire. The home support was as worse than what Blackburn were. And that's all you seem to see at Championship games. Now is coloured seats.
Yeah. It is. And I think, I know teams have to sort of like balance the books, but they've got to find a way of making sure that the product's still there, that people want to go to watch. And I think they're pricing people out at the minute, if I'm being honest.
We make a choice as season ticket holders before this next season starts to renew our season tickets.
Yeah.
So if the club decide that they want to sell a ticket for £20 a game, where we've paid as a season ticket holder most probably 30, I haven't got a problem with that. Do you know what I mean, James? We have the option to renew our season tickets early or buy a new season ticket in the summer, and that's our choice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But surely it's beneficial to the club, you know, to put them price of the tickets down.
I think they've got to find a balancing act, because I don't mind personally as a season ticket holder that happening so many games. I wouldn't want it every game, because then I'd think, what's the incentive of buying a season ticket if I'm then going to pay more?
True, if it happened all season.
But I certainly,
twice or 3 times.
We've all spoke on the show about this in the past. There used to be seasons ago, there was 2 or 3 offers a season. And funnily enough, you got some. I remember one night we played Sheffield Wednesday on a Friday night. It was on Sky. They did a ticket offers, and there was over 28,000. That wouldn't have been there because it was on Sky normally if it had been full price tickets. And I think you've got to do that. You've got to get the kids involved. And they do a good job, the club, in terms of getting kids in with the family enclosure and stuff like that. But you've also got to appeal to other fans and lapsed fans. And more so at the current time where the team's struggling, you've got to do everything you can to get people from this area into that ground stadium, supporting the team, because they need all the support they can get at the minute, don't they? So, I think that's something the club do need to look at. But anyway, looking back at Saturday, before the game, we saw that George Friend was back in the team for Hayden Coulson, who apparently was injured. Dyke Steele came in for his league debut in place of Johnny Howson at right back, who moved into midfield. But I'm sure that performance that we got over the 90 minutes, Tony, you were there, wasn't what Jonathan Woodgate was looking for, was it?
From Dick Steele, as I like to call him. Like you say, we've got a Blackburn, 2 o'clock the team comes out, first thing, Clayton's dropped. And in my mind, that was a positive.
Right.
Johnny Howson back in the midfield. Then you look at the back 4, and obviously Coulson's injured. Brings Friend in rather than Bowler, which was really disappointing, do you know what I mean? Because, like you say, this attack, high press, with George Friend in the back 4, that just put that theory to bed there and then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt for George on Saturday. I thought he was like running in treacle at times. I know it's his first game back, and you've got to give somebody a bit of leeway, but I thought he had a difficult afternoon.
I think it'd be
as did Dyke Steele on the right.
I think it'd be more difficult for him. Like people are suggesting that he plays where Shotton's playing. I think that would be even more
at centre back.
Be more of a risk for us if he played there now.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the whole performance, it just seemed really slow, ponderous. there was a lack of creativity. We were just waiting. I was waiting for some spark to get going, and it didn't really seem to happen, did it? It didn't.
I'm just hoping he hasn't like panicked and gone back over on what he said he's going to play. Like, I'm hoping he's not thinking, oh, it's not working. I need to be a bit more conservative, because I've seen enough against Luton in the first half of Brentford to think, you know, he is onto something.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping he isn't worrying and thinking, oh, I need to be a bit more conservative, a bit more defensive, cautious.
His theory isn't going to work against teams like Blackburn.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
They're the teams we're going to have to really, you know,
Unlock.
That's where, if he has got a tactical brain, where he's going to have to start and think about things rather than just, you know, just keep banging away. Blackburn just...
But in saying that, they offered nothing as well.
It was Blackburn's tactics that totally, you know, broke us up.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't get going. But like James said, when we did, it was slow, it was methodical.
Yeah.
And then he did switch Fletcher eventually to the right, and that's the only chance of the game we got when Brown hit the post.
Yeah. Jason Marin's got in touch there with the show tonight, lads. We must get Tav and Brown in the team, try something different going forward. They will be the difference if we want to start winning games. Do you think that's a fair point, that get Tav and Brown in, and if so,
I
whose
don't know.
expense?
I don't think we've seen enough from Tav yet. I know he's only had a few bit parts.
Yeah.
Brown, he showed flashes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you say, the only way they're going to get confidence is if they get game time, if they get a start.
Yeah.
For me, Tav's a wide player more than centre.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be dropping Johnson or Fletcher at the minute. I know Johnson looked good against Luton and first half Brentford, but I wouldn't be dropping him yet.
Yeah. I think Johnson, for me, seems to start quite lively, but then sort of fades out of games a little bit, and I don't know whether that's because he's hardly played any football over the last 18 months or so. So I think, is it something you're going to have to persevere with till he builds up his match fitness and stuff? I'm not sure. But
Brentford, Luton, he was our best player for a game and a half, wasn't he? You know what I mean? So,
I mean, like we said, it was a poor and nervy game. It was settled by Danny Graham's penalty in the first half. Any arguments for you, Tony, over the penalty?
No. There was a few people sat around me saying it was never a penalty. He had hold of his shirt that long. The referee was watching him. I'm sure the referee gave him a chance to let go.
Yeah.
And he held on to it for that long. He thought, I'm going to have to blow it.
I think he was very clever, wasn't he, Danny Graham? Because they were both at it. But I think Danny Graham more or less let the referee know. And Dykes still pulling away at his shirt there. And that was it. Yeah, I don't think there was any argument about it, to be honest.
Yeah, he was still pulling when Danny Graham scored.
Yeah, he still had all of them when he was taking the penalty. So, like I say, let me read that right. Mazuritsi. Both Tav and Brown played at Crewe and were particularly impressive. Well,
I can't comment. I wasn't there. So.
They were playing against a League Two team, is what I'd say to that, maybe. And like you say, at the end of the day, we still didn't get the result we were hoping for. I agree with you there, what you said. Brown has showed it in flashes. I don't know whether he's done enough to merit a start. Obviously, Woodgate, Keane, they'll see him day to day in training, and they'll know if they think he's ready to start the game. There may well be some changes tomorrow night, but I think Brown might be knocking on the door of a start, but I'm not too sure yet. I don't know if he's done enough in the games that he started to warrant that. I'm not too sure.
I've been criticised. I've said we've signed three third division players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's old school money, that, isn't it, mate?
That certainly is. Is that the club's ambition? You know what I mean? Or
I think that's where we're shopping now, isn't it?
Is that, we're shopping at Aldi's now?
Yeah.
So
putting in them terms, that's what we're doing, aren't we? That's what we can afford to buy now.
And
with our
coaching staff, with the likes of Keane, Woodgate, with their experience, are they, like you say, as Gibson brought these players in with Woodgate, for them to nurture them and to bring them into, into the Championship.
We've spent money, and the last few years when we've spent money, not many of them have been any use. Flint. Gusted.
I think
if we're gonna, I'd rather spend cheap in the lower leagues and have a flop rather than spend 10 million and have a flop.
I think that's a fair point.
What was Saville? 8 million.
So there's another one.
And he's going to, the way he's going at the moment, he hasn't had much game time.
No, I mean, I think that's a fair point, that, because you look at,
I'd rather go.
If you're spending that sort of money, then I think you look at what you're going to what your resale is afterwards, and how much on those type of players are we going to make money on? We're going to lose on all of them, on top of the wages that you've paid out from weekly as well. It's cost the club an awful lot of money, and it's something that they just can't sustain, can they? Can't keep doing it.
Like Gusted, he could have went to Millwall January and he turned them down.
Yeah.
you know, that's how much he's actually taking the piss at this club. Sorry, but that's what he's doing.
I think you've been very kind there. I mean, Ian Black's got in there, and he's just echoing your point, Tony. Millwall are 5th in the league. I mean, I know it's very early days, but we bought their star man last year for $7 million, and he warms our bench. That's a good example of where the money's gone. And I mean, you don't see Millwall spending that sort of money. In fairness, Millwall had a very disappointing season, I think, last year. And it is early days. We've got them up here at the weekend. But, I mean, that's not just...
That's crazy, isn't it? We bought Bristol Starman, Bristol City Starman and Millwall.
Waste of space last season. I expected him and Ayala to be like racking up 20 goals between them.
Well,
he scored last week in Cardiff.
Well, that first home game of the season, wasn't it? He scored. You won't score another one now, mate.
No.
Don't worry about that.
So he's got to play us twice.
True enough. So that's 4 games into the season. And not long after the final whistle, I think it was as soon as the final whistle went on Saturday, social media was an absolute hive of debate about the future of the club, Jonathan Woodgate, Steve Gibson.
Yeah.
Does this surprise you, lads, or do you think it's just a sign of how frustrated Borough fans are, or is it just like a modern phenomenon that's how football is now?
Yeah, it's a continuation from Karanka, hasn't it? It's never stopped since Karanka got the sack. You know, we had Agnew, who was an absolute joke, absolute clown, and then it's just continued from there.
Do you think Borough fans are then too demanding or unrealistic in their expectations, Tony? Because if you bear in mind, I think I've seen something that you've put on social media yourself about the history of the club over so many years. And traditionally, we are a championship club for me. Yeah. That's what we are. And
what surprised me when I was reading that is, in our history, I think we've been in the top division for 61 seasons.
Yeah.
The second division, or what's it called now, the championship, for something like 45, 46 seasons.
Yeah.
And obviously 2 seasons in Division 3. We are a championship club now.
Yeah, I think so.
And I've got this theory where people born after the Riverside was built, or start going after, you know what I mean? That era, they've seen our club sign the players that we used to sign was, for a fan like me, was unbelievable. World stars, European Cup winners, World Cup winners, all playing for my home team. And the people who've seen all that, that's what they expect now.
Yeah, it's become the norm.
It's become the norm, but it's not.
I think over the last 25 years, although in fairness, you've also got to say we've had 1 out of the last 11 seasons have been in the Premier League. We've had 10 seasons out of the Championship, and some of those Championship seasons have been poor. But like you say, before that, the 15 years before that, that's like a golden period, in my opinion, that the club will never have again.
No.
I hope I'm wrong, really do hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we'll ever see Middlesbrough Football Club get to a European Cup final again.
No, not now.
And things like a top 7 finish in the Premier League, we were massively punching above our weight. And I still think there's a little bit of a hangover from that, because when we're in the Championship, people automatically think we're going to be challenging to go up this year. No problem. It doesn't quite work out like that.
Have they? They had a similar, they got to a European Cup final, and they've never recovered really. They've been up and down, same as ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you say, that golden period, what you'd give now for Viduka, Hasselbank, and Yakubu to have in your squad. But today, it's what we have now. Woodgate's our manager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Personally, I'd rather have Woodgate than Pulis.
Right.
And I'm hoping and praying he gets the first win under his belt and see where it goes from there. I don't think he's very good tactically. I think we missed a trick by not bringing someone else in alongside him. You know what I mean? Because you watch him and his substitutions aren't the best.
Would you have liked an experienced head to have come in alongside him?
You know what I mean? Just for that little bit.
Yeah.
Which most of these young managers have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just for that bit of guidance, do you think you should be doing this? I'm not telling you what to do, but A, B, or C.
Yeah. I mean, Jack Hunter's got in, he's with you, lads. He's saying, I've still got Woodgate's back. It's early days. The players still have Pulis' football, constant long balls on a Saturday, and hopefully things will improve. And it's going to take time, isn't it, to change the philosophy of the club?
We've been a defensive team for 6 or 7 years. Even back to Karanka, we were a defensive side.
Yeah.
You're not going to change it with the flip of a switch. It's going to take a while. He needs a full season, unless it looks like we're going to be in the bottom 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needs a full season, like Norwich manager got.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
We didn't have much option on Saturday but to hump it long.
Yeah.
Because our midfield was so far away from the back four.
Yeah.
Someone said a comment, well, use your goalkeeper, go back to your keeper. But even Shotton and Friend were struggling to get it back to our keeper. They were getting that put under that amount of pressure, you know what I mean?
That's a good point from David Jackson. Like he believes that a manager has to learn his trade at a lower level, like Chris Wilder did at, say, Northampton before he got the job at Sheffield United. Do you think there would have been any merit in maybe Jonathan Woodgate's first job being at another club, maybe lower down the leagues or the pyramid, rather than getting a job with the added pressure of it being his hometown club as well?
Yeah, you look at Sol Campbell. He's gone lower leagues. Paul Ince. Campbell got sacked at the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, so this appointment of Woodgate, it reminds me so much of when Bobby Murdoch got the job back in the 80s. When
you've been looking at my script, this is exactly what I've got down here, mate.
This is what it reminds me of when Bobby Murdoch got the job and we were losing the likes of Souness, Mills, all our star players got sold from underneath that man, and he was expected, you know, to go do a job, and obviously it was a disaster. And I think Woodgate's been put in a similar situation as maybe Southgate did as well.
Yeah, I think there's a few people saying that, Lee, that maybe Woodgate's been thrown under the bus a little bit here. He's been given the job, and yes, he'll probably know the restraints that have come with him getting the job now, but he's almost got a thankless task, hasn't he? Because he's had to trim the wage bill even further. Can't bring many players in.
If he gives him the season, he's not thrown under the bus. It's if he gets rid of him September and gives in to the crowd. Like,
I don't think he's thrown under the bus. He wanted the job.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
he wanted the job. Apparently, we had a list like that, didn't we? As long as your arm of managers who were getting interviews. So,
like we said the other week, though, I think a few of them will have wanted the job, maybe then realised they won't have had the
what the constraints were. Like
Djukanovic, I think he'll have wanted money to spend.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Matthew Groves again. Even Monk couldn't get the defensive style out of him. Just didn't get enough time to do it.
You need it. It's going to take time, isn't it? And these people know, like, because if you read Twitter the other night, I was thinking, what the hell's our fan base going on about? Like, this is restoring my faith a bit, actually.
yeah. I mean, well, whatever your views on the matter is with regards to is Woodgate under pressure and how things are going at the club, what's certain is the pressure levels are going to be cranked up even further with the next two home games. Now, aren't starting tomorrow night with Wigan. I mean, traditionally, you would think Wigan and Millwall at home, with the greatest respect, you would be targeting at least 4 points.
Yeah.
Do you think that's still realistic under the current circumstances, or are you still saying 4-6 points over these next two games?
Yeah.
What are you two lads hoping for? What are you hoping for, Lee?
I'd be happy with 3 at the minute, but I think 4 or 6 isn't unrealistic.
Right.
No, especially if we get at them like we did Brentford. Surely not every first half's going to have 2 disallowed for nothing.
No,
If we go out how we did against Brentford and put them under pressure, there's no reason why we can't be 2-3-0 up at half time.
Yeah. How about you, mate?
well, you've sat here many times next to me. You know, 6 points is always, you know.
I'd
can-
take
I can
from
never-
home
I
games.
would be happy with 4 from 2, but just to get some on the board, you know.
Yeah.
What you've just said there, Lee, let's say that they keep going on about these fine margins. A missed penalty and 2 disallowed goals.
Yeah.
And
You could be
you know,
sitting on like
hit the
6-7 points now.
Hit the post on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Yeah.
He has been unlucky for me.
Yeah, I mean, Sol Stalin, that's a great point. Time's a precious commodity in football, but time is exactly what Woodgate needs right now to develop and refine his method. I think the thing is, though, how many managers do get time in the modern game now? Like you say, we've only had 3 league games, and there's already people calling for the manager's head. I mean, like we said earlier on, back in the days, I hate to harp back on and say about this happening that in the past, 82 to 86, God, it'd take us about 3 months to get a win at the start of every season. And yes, there might have been only 5,000-6,000 in at Ayresome Park, but people didn't call for the manager's head, did they?
No.
Why do you think that was the case then?
Allison, I don't know. I think it's more to do with that.
Right.
That, you know what I mean? Everyone's got a voice now.
Yeah.
Which is it a good thing?
Yeah.
Everyone's got an opinion. And
do you think it comes back to cost as well again now because you're paying more money to watch them? You're thinking, I'm paying 30 quid. I want value.
Especially
for
like
that.
we spoke there, the walk-up fans.
Yeah.
You know, like, then let's go at the game.
If it's any club he's going to get time, it's going to be Middlesbrough. Steve Gibson's known for giving people time.
Yeah.
Unless you carry Monk.
Well, let's deal with these 2 games that are coming up first. As we've got Wigan, they beat Cardiff on the opening day 3-2, but then they lost to Preston away from home 3-0. They were poor on the road last season for much of the season. Then they lost to a Patrick Bamford-inspired Leeds at the weekend. He got 2 goals for them. How do you see it going tomorrow night? Give us a scoreline.
Tomorrow, like you say, their manager's he's a wily also, and you know, is he going to do something similar to what Mowbray done to us on Saturday?
Yeah.
And that's what's worrying me about tomorrow night. How he's going to set them up? How he's going to frustrate us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because last 2 games we failed to score, which is a continuation from last season.
Yeah.
The system we play, if it's going to work, we need our strikers scoring, because we are going to concede, but we haven't got Firmino, Salah and Mane. You know what I mean? For that system to work perfectly, we need to start scoring first of all. You know what I mean? So.
And I think first goal's huge tomorrow night. If we can get first goal tomorrow night, it'll get the fans behind them. Whereas I think if it worked the other way and Wigan were to score first, I fear for what the atmosphere will be like.
How will you feel as a fan if Wigan score first tomorrow?
Well, your heart will just sink, won't it? You're just thinking, oh God, here we go. And you'll hear boos maybe coming up, and I hope you don't, but maybe 1 or 2 boos. And it's just like the pressure then a misplaced pass gets people on their backs. And it's just little things like that.
See, like after the Brentford game, I had the pleasure of walking home with the fans for the first time for a few seasons. And I just kept my ears open and what am I listening to? You know what I mean? Woodgate and the lads were getting it big time for the second half performance. You know what I mean?
Which admittedly wasn't good, but when you put it next to the first half performance, arguably that was as good as any first half performance or any performance at the Riverside last season.
For a long time,
but they just didn't get the rewards, and you sort of knew when it went in 0-0 that day that we were probably going to get punished for that. Yeah. So. Are we going to get a win tomorrow night, Tony? Or shall I come back to you?
We'll win. We'll win.
Said with loads of conviction.
We'll win. We'll win 3-1 tomorrow.
3-1? Yeah. Go on, Lee, what do you reckon?
2-1 Borough.
2-1 Borough. Lads on the camera?
I think it's going to be a draw, like 1-1-1-1
draw. 1 draw. I've got us for an edgy 2-1 win. God, it'll be edgy, I know that, yeah. Yeah, Matthew Grove's going to be toxic tomorrow if we go 1-0 down, as if it isn't toxic enough already. Yeah, I mean...
I'm going to, like you say, big night for me tomorrow night. You know, it's a festive at the Riverside tomorrow night, James. Night. I'm taking away from me.
Oh, hey, well, if it all goes pear-shaped, mate, we know where we're going to be. Can't believe it.
She's going to see
how's
she going to cope with me performing there, man?
What's she done to go there tomorrow night? You know it. Oh, yeah. Fair dues. And then at the weekend we've got...
If I'm suffering.
Yeah, we're all going to suffer. We've got Millwall. Now, in contrast to us, they'd be probably brimming with confidence at the minute. They've got 7 points. Neil Harris seems to have got them back to how they were a couple of seasons ago. They're like tenacious, well-drilled, hard to beat. Got 7 points. Like I say, they've only conceded 1 goal in 3 games. They beat Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, and they were down to 10 men for over half the game. And you know what you get most of the time with Millwall. They're going to be in your face. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
That's where your £30 for a ticket comes into question, isn't it? When there's teams like that coming in, you know the ball's not going to be in play. You know they're going to be rolling about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Stopping the game, every tactic. What happened to that? Where the substitution where you had to go off at the nearest point now?
Yeah, because that didn't happen. Because that was the Brentford game. That didn't happen against Brentford.
It hasn't happened yet, has it?
No. Now, funnily enough, I've seen it happen in non-league games.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen in non-league games, but I've not seen it in the Championship yet. I
don't think it's happened in the Premier League yet. Obviously, that's the rule now.
Yeah.
But no one's abiding by it.
Yeah.
So, like you say, it's just their spoiling tactics, Millwall, and
you know
it works for them.
And I think in the situation we are at the minute, we've got to expect the teams are going to come up to the Riverside and think, they've always done it anyway, but I think first 20 minutes, keep it all quiet, get the crowd on their backs and all that. And that's going to happen even more so, I think, now in the situation we're in at the moment. So Saturday, I suppose, it'll be dictated to a little bit by what happens tomorrow night. If we get a win tomorrow, I think everyone will be very positive and the confidence will start to spread through the team. So, yeah, if we've got a win on Tuesday, do you think it'll be a lot easier? We could back it up on Saturday, or do you think that's another really tough game, innit?
It's a tough game, like you said, they've only conceded 1, but I always recall them being poor away from home, Millwall. Good at the Den. It's a bit of a fortress, but I'll go for 2-0 Borough.
2-0 Borough. Yeah, I've got to take this out here. David Jackson reckons your wife should be the next manager.
She can't even cope with me, man. Can't
Should sort Gusted out though, eh?
Oh, she'd sort him out, yeah. Big tired. Oh, sorry.
So, we've got a 2-0 for Saturday there.
2-0, yeah.
Lads on the cameras.
We're not getting a win. Don't
Not
ever
get
get
you,
a win.
so you're
Don't,
not
honestly,
getting a win in the next 2
I've got no
games?
hope.
Ollie,
no hope.
you were off the cameras, mate, I'll tell you what. I'm not having this, mate.
You've never had it too good.
Go on, what about you, Tony?
Saturday,
Yeah,
2-0 Borough.
2-0 Borough. Oh, so you lads are going 6-1. I think we might get a draw Saturday. I think we'll win tomorrow, but
We'll have the same
Saturday.
amount
My
of
head's
points.
saying draw, but I'm going with my heart.
Good lad, good lad.
We'll have the same amount of points as Leeds on Saturday. Because they'll lose the next 2 games and we'll be upside down.
Tell you what, that'd be a good week. That would be a good week. Well, I tell you what, lads.
That's how mad this league
It is.
You know what I mean?
I think what's telling is after 3 games, not one team in the championship's got a 100% record.
That's how bad it is.
That's what the championship is, isn't
Yeah.
it? And you've got 3 teams, I think, on 7 points. No, but it's a difficult league to string win after win together. It's just traditionally a hard league.
We're not going to be allowed or able to play that type of high press every game.
No.
Not every game, no.
Not every game. Or not every minute of every game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where Woodgate needs to prove that he does have the knowledge and he does have the tactical ideas, you know, to keep us right. Up to now, I haven't seen that. But the ball's in his court.
Yeah.
And like you say, give him 12 months.
Yeah.
Personally,
I
I can't see that happening if it's, you know, if it's getting towards.
You're right.
It's got to happen, man.
Towards Christmas.
They've talked about how the club needs to change direction and play attacking brand of football, find players on the cheap, sell them at big. Like, you've got to stick to it. If that's your philosophy, stick to it. Don't give in to crowd pressure. Like,
But is that, what type of ambition is that shown, Lee?
well, at the minute, it's our only option, isn't it?
I think that's just where we are. 'Cause I think either Gibson hasn't got the money or the club hasn't got the money or he's not willing to
Like I said,
mortgage the future of the club and he's saying, I've got to pull it back. And I think...
I'd rather have Marvin Johnson's and that playing than Gusteds who...
Oh,
signed to-
definitely,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Gusted's a bad example. You
I
know,
keep harping on about him.
Because
After that Tuesday night,
he's a
man,
bad
I'm
example
done
as
with him.
well, he's not even a footballer.
Well, there's a lot of people very positive about tomorrow night. Midnight Short, he said it's going to be our biggest win this season. Seriously, 4 or 5-0. Jack Hunter thinks we'll win 2-0 tomorrow. So does Saul Starling. And Steve Up the Borough says Steve Bruce will be free in September, lads. So he could be our next manager. I mean, I'm not saying things could be worse because I mean I'd still rather be struggling in the Premier League and the Championship. But you know, it couldn't happen to a better club than them lot up the road, could it?
No.
And I think they're in for a long hard season as well, aren't they?
Well,
Yeah,
like you say,
bad
after
at the
Saturday, he's amazing, that Pokey, man.
He's just
Unbelievable.
took
And that's it. You don't have to spend fortunes, do
every
you?
week I slag him off. He goes and bags at hat-trick on
He's got
Saturday.
4 goals, yeah. Well, lads, hopefully it's a better field on the week for the Borough. Thanks, everybody watching out there. It's been great to have your comments on. You make the show, and it's been a joy to take your comments tonight. Thanks, lads, for being on. Been really good to have you back
No
on,
worries,
guesting.
James.
Great to have you on again, Lee. Thanks on the cameras, lads. Been fantastic, even though your comments and your predictions are absolutely garbage. Don't forget.
Where did you get them from, Jim?
I don't know. Yeah, I got the League One equivalent of cameramen. These days, yeah. No, I'm only joking. Lads. I'm only joking. Don't forget to subscribe to Borough Fan TV on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Keep up to date with all the stuff on there this week ahead of what's certainly be a crucial week and an interesting week at your club. From myself, Lee, and Guesty. Until next time, see you later, and up the Borough.
Up the Borough.